Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. In this episode, Steven and I talk about Saw. Why was Shawnee Smith hired for Amanda? How was Billy the Puppet created? And would you smoke a cigarette found in a bathroom? Next week on the podcast is Let the Right One In. But before that, we talk about a small budget film that launched a massive franchise, Saw. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host, Elzar. I'm joined again by Steven. Steven, how's it going?
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Today we're going to talk about Saw.
2004. It was directed by James Wan and written by Leigh Whannell and James Wan, starring Cary Elwes as Dr. Lauren Cordance, Leigh Whannell as Adam. Danny Glover is in here as Detective Tapp from Predator 2 and, of course, Lethal Weapon series. And then Ken Leung as Detective Singh, who's from Old, and he's also from Lost. It had a budget of $1.2 million and made $103.9 million in the box office.
Wow.
So I want to talk a little bit about the pre-production. James Wan and Leigh Whannell wanted to write and fund their own film. They wanted to come up with an idea for a low-budget film, kind of like the Blair Witch Project did. And they figured that they wanted to somehow make a movie where two people were in a room, and yet they still made it interesting the whole time. I watched 3 different commentaries for this movie. And they talk about how they spent so much time writing the script that they made this movie that sounded so good when they gave it out to people to read that companies wanted to actually give them way more money than they shot for. And there was a bunch of companies that were willing to pay them a lot more money than they actually got for it. But those companies were unwilling to let James Wan direct it or Leigh Whannell star in it since they were both unknown at the time. But what they ended up doing is they filmed a short clip of the reverse bear trap scene. And Adam was in the chair with the reverse bear trap on. He plays the victim in that scene. They gave that to people with the script saying this is a proof of concept clip so you can see based on this short what movie we can make.
Very cool. I was wondering, were there any escape room type movies made before Saw 2004? None came to mind for me.
I think of Cube.
Wondering. Oh, okay.
Cube is the one that I think of. But in the first movie, where that is what it's turned into a lot of, Leigh Whannell and James Wan want to note that this first movie wasn't about the gruesome, crazy traps, but these two people that find themselves waking up in a bathroom. But it's not until the second one where it's like this maze of crazy traps that people get out of, which in different elements in each follow-up movie seems to be kind of what the characters are going through.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a cool kind of backstory. They agreed to go with the company that decided to let them star in it and direct it. So that's why their budget was only $1.2 million. And it was Mark Berg, Oren Corliss, and Greg Hoffman who all funded this together. They used their own money, put up their own houses. They said they broke all the rules of filmmaking. Never use your own money, never trust a first-time director, and never trust a first-time actor. But because they worked in the business a long time, they were able to get established actors like Danny Glover, Cary Elwes, and Shawnee Smith.
I think that says a lot for having a great story and a great screenplay and just being able to execute on that. Because there are some really great stories out there and big name actors in other movies, and they're total flops. So just,
right.
I really like Saw.
Yeah, I think it's really good. So is there anything else you want to say about before we start going through the movie?
Just the opening credits I thought were really cool with the sort of wavy words and letters, and it just kind of sets the mood for the whole thing. I think that even though the effect was so 1990s, it was really good how it was. Not all horror movies have that. They might have the ominous music playing in the background, but not the visual effects. So right. I did like the opening credits.
Cool. All right, so the film starts with a character who we'll eventually know as Adam. He's lying underwater, and we see a little blue glowing light floating above his face. Then we get the title card that says Saw. As we see the plug seems to be pulled out of the tub, Adam comes up for air, and that little blue light goes down the drain. He is in a completely dark room, starts yelling for help, and wonders out loud if he's dead, and another voice comes across the room and says he's not dead. Adam asks a bunch of questions, but the voice, who seems really tired, as if he was already asleep, doesn't seem to know any more than Adam does, or at least claims to not know anything more.
And one of the weird questions that Adam asks is, what does that smell? And I was trying to figure that out, because I often think about this when I'm watching movies. You have your visual senses, you have your audio senses. What if you could have like smell senses or feeling senses when you're experiencing this?
So some theaters do this. They'll pump in different smells. And so I took Joshua to see Heretic recently. And while our theater didn't do this, they have theaters across America that were pumping in a blueberry pie smell. And so we bought this candle because we love the movie. So if you just smell the box.
Oh, wow.
Right? It really smells like blueberry pie. And so I bought that from A24's website. So when we finally get it on Blu-ray, because we like the movie so much, we'll be able to light that candle at least a couple of times and really enjoy the fragrance when the characters are smelling the blueberry pie being made.
Some theaters, they have feeling interactions.
With
like
the chairs.
You go to Disney or museums, they'll have, chairs.
They call it 4D. Twister had a bunch of 4D theaters throughout the country when the new Twister came
fans blowing and such.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, just an aside, because I liked how Adam pointed that out, and then you start thinking about what could he be smelling in this room.
I think it's that toilet. That used toilet. The voice says that he found something, and the light comes on, and it takes a while for Adam's eyes to adjust, which I think we as the audience are kind of adjusting our eyes too. It's like over bright when we first start looking at it. Then we see.
But the camera focus also does a really cool thing for the viewer here, because the camera focus is blurry. So then you're thinking, oh, Adam's adjusting his eyes. It's hard to see. I thought that was a nice effect.
Right. Then we reveal that Carrie Ellis is there, who plays Dr. Lawrence Gordon. They are in a dirty old bathroom, and the camera pans to reveal that there's a body lying in the middle of the bathroom, where they themselves are separated on two sides of the bathroom. There's blood spread out under his head and the body, and one of his hands is holding a Smith & Wesson Model 686, and the other is holding a small tape recorder. We see that they are both tied by their ankles with massive chains, and then Adam vomits. One small detail is everybody always asks Lee Winnell, did those chains hurt? And he says they installed these rubber wetsuit-like materials under the metal so they wouldn't hurt, but we were in them for 6 days, so they hurt a lot. Like it didn't work. He claims that James Wan just likes to torture his actors. Adam starts screaming for help, but to no avail. Dr. Gordon asks him to calm down and asks if he's hurt, and Adam says yes. Dr. Gordon tries to ask him his name, and he says his name is very fucking confused. Adam asks his name, and he tells him Lawrence Gordon, and that he's a doctor, and that he just woke up here just like him. Dr. Gordon asks if he recognized the body, and Adam says no. Then he asks if he remembers anything, and Adam says that he went to bed in his shithole apartment, and he woke up in an actual shithole. Dr. Gordon tells Adam that he remembers he was on his way home from work. Adam says it's his first dead body and notes that they don't move. Dr. Gordon says that they were not intended to move either because of their chains. Adam freaks out, asking if Dr. Gordon can see scars on him because he believes that his kidneys have been stolen and are listed on eBay. Gordon tells him that not how it works, and if he would be either in extreme agony or dead by now. Dr. Gordon opens the door, and Adam finds an envelope in his pocket with his name on it. Inside is a tape, and when Dr. Gordon notices, he pulls out one from his pocket as well.
It says "Play Me" on the label of the tapes, of both of their tapes.
Right.
And it's interesting to note that the way that the body's sprawled across the floor, the gun is on the side of Dr. Lawrence Gordon, and the tape recorder's on Adam's side.
Right. So Adam tries to reach for the player, and Dr. Gordon asks him to use his shirt to extend his reach. Then Adam uses the plug from the bathtub with a small chain. It's tied to his shirt, and he uses this to snatch the player. It takes him like 3 times, but he finally gets the thing over to him. As he hits play, we get the iconic Saw voice, or at least iconic now.
Oh, that's Tobin Bell?
Right.
And that guy has a great voice for this. And you're exactly right. It's an iconic voice. If you've never seen the Saw movies, please do, because you'll never get the sound of Tobin Bell's voice out of your head. It's incredible.
Right. While Adam plays the tape, the voice tells him that he might be in the room that he dies in. He says that he normally watches people live out their lives in the shadows and asks what voyeurs see when they look in the mirror. The tape asks Adam if he's going to watch himself die or do something about it. Gordon asks him to throw him the player, but Adam wants Gordon to throw him his tape. Gordon says they need to work together, but Adam has a good point when he says that throwing the player could break it. So Dr. Gordon does throw him the tape.
Well, he's going to kill Adam by 6 o'clock, and that someone has Allison and Diana, I think it was mentioned, which we learn later is Dr. Gordon's wife and daughter. And the cool part at the end of the tape was, let the game begin.
Right, and the voice in the tape starts to cough before telling him to remember that X marks the spot.
Oh, that's right. That was another good key feature.
So Dr. Gordon demands the player. Adam finally throws it to him this time, and it lands perfectly in Dr. Gordon's hands. He plays the ending of the tape again. Adam wants to know what Dr. Gordon knows. He replays it, and there's a whisper that says, follow your heart. Dr. Gordon looks around and sees a heart, which looks like it's probably drawn with crap, like feces, fecal material, on the toilet. Adam looks inside the very gross.
That smell. Adam.
Yes. He looks in. It's very brown. On the commentary, everybody joked around about, oh no, the whole crew member took a crap for Adam there. And Lee Winnell himself says that in the screenings, people started yelling, try the back of the toilet first. Don't reach in there. Try the back of the toilet first because it's clean water, right? And
I would have.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But he reaches
more of
around.
An artist, not a scientist, so he's like, I'm just going to.
He reaches out, he digs around and reports there's nothing solid, but that's where Dr. Gordon tells him to remove the lid from the back of the toilet. Adam pulls out a garbage bag and says he wishes he would have checked there first. One funny note is that one complaint, this one woman after screening went up to him and said, sweetie, do you realize that the hand that you stuck in the toilet is the same hand you were using to smoke that cigarette in that movie? Like that.
Yes, because we did all the filming in one day.
Everything.
And no one cleaned their hands in between.
Right, but everything horrible that happens in this movie, this was the woman's problem. He smoked with the hand he stuck
be sure
in the toilet.
Clean your hands before you smoke, folks. And afterwards.
Right. No smoking. How about let's not smoke? Adam pulls out a pair of handsaws. He starts trying to cut himself free. Dr. Gordon asks if he wouldn't mind passing one over, so he does. And when Dr. Gordon is distracted, he takes a garbage bag and throws it into the tubs. They both try in vain, and Adam's saw breaks, which leads him to throw the remaining part at the mirror, and a chip of it breaks off. Dr. Gordon says that he doesn't want them to cut through the chains, that he wants them to cut through their feet. Then he tells Adam that he thinks he knows who might have done this, not that he knows them personally, but he knows of them. And he starts to tell Adam that he was a suspect of someone that the police have not caught yet. While his voice continues, we see Detective Tapp, Singh, and Carey enter a crime scene where a man has died from their injuries of razor wire inside a metal cage.
So there are several backstories here, it seems like. That Dr. Gordon is saying that he thinks he knows who's done this, and then it kind of goes to these backstories of other things that have happened, kind of similar situations to others by this sadistic person.
One funny note that, because I was also listening to the commentary for The Invisible Man, which was written and directed by Lee Winnell, the guy that plays Adam, he says that when he wrote the script for Saw, he got a call from the production assistant, I think, was asking, you have here on the script that the police find a sewer and walk down, illuminating it with torches. And he's like, yeah, is that okay? And he's like, you want them to carry torches. Well, they got to see somehow. And she goes, literal sticks on fire. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, American. Flashlights. Can you imagine the movie if he showed up to film it and the cops are walking down with torches?
I was just thinking that same thing. It's like, what is this, the 1800s?
Right, exactly.
Is this like
in a world
Man?
with no flashlights, 3 detectives must stop at nothing. Detective Carey says that the man, whose name is Paul, has been there for 3 weeks and died from lack of blood as he cut himself very deep trying to tunnel out of the razor wire.
The sad part about this story is they played the tape that this man got, and he was suicidal. And so the tape was telling him that he had to cut himself to live this time. So anyway, that is pretty, like I said, a sadistic person.
Right.
Put all this together.
And there's a crazy theory, and some people online, I don't know if they're trolling or they really buy it. They believe Jigsaw has never killed anyone. He just gives them the choices whether to live or not, which is a bunch of crap because...
Well, Dr. Gordon says this, I think, in the movie at some point.
I know.
He's like, he never actually killed anyone in these stories. But
I know, and I think it's a bunch of crap because the guy had 3 hours to escape this maze of razor wire or sit there and do nothing, and it was going to be locked forever. And he wasn't found for 3 weeks, so he would have died either way. So I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Wow.
But that's just the whole jigsaw theory.
It's sort of like, if you don't tell the truth by not saying anything, are you lying?
Right.
Is it a lie if you don't tell the truth?
A lie
by
through
definition?
omission. Yeah.
But exactly.
Right.
It's a fuzzy line.
They also find a piece of skin that is in the shape of a jigsaw piece, which is what named him the Jigsaw Killer. Then we see another guy in a trap. This guy's name is Mark. The detectives play the tape where Jigsaw put poison in his body, but that the antidote is inside this safe. Jigsaw says the combination to the safe is written on the wall, but as you look on the wall, you see numbers have been written randomly along the whole wall, hundreds and hundreds of possible combinations, maybe more. So Mark is naked, and there's shattered glass all over the floor, and to top it off, he's covered in a flammable gel, but is only given a candle to light the room with.
Wait, was this the one where the cops were coming with torches down the... That would have not been a good combination.
Right. So he tries to find the combination on the walls. He ends up burning himself to death. Apparently, the actor himself chose to be naked in this scene. They offered to let him wear underwear. Then Detective Carey shows the other two detectives the jigsaw, always has a peephole to watch through, and this time he left a pin light behind. We cut to Dr. Gordon speaking about a patient to a room full of medical students. The patient has cancer, and we see that one female student is looking at Dr. Gordon longingly. Then the hospital orderly named Zepp comes over and tells Dr. Gordon that the patient's name is John, and he's a very interesting person. Zepp is played by Michael Emerson, who is best known from Lost. Did you watch Lost?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, good show.
Crazy,
Dr. Gordon gets a page overhead, and he walks to his office to find detectives Tapp and Singh. They ask him for his whereabouts last night and ask him to come to the station with them. They're going to make it easy because they're going to give him a ride. At the station, his lawyer is played by Benito Martinez, which I love from The Shield, who said he would do this movie if he could not play a cop. So they said, fine, we'll make you a lawyer. He tells his lawyer that he has an alibi, but he was out having an affair. And the lawyer advises him to tell them now because no one's going to believe you later. We cut back to the bathroom where Dr. Gordon says that these events were 5 months ago. Then right back into the flashback, we see a previous victim of Jigsaw, Amanda, who's played by Shawnee Smith, who was in The Blob, 1988, and who I love from Who's Harry Crumb.
So basically, Dr. Gordon's off the hook because of his alibi, but for whatever reason, the detective wants him to listen to Amanda's story, because I think the detective still suspects Dr. Gordon as this serial killer type person.
Yeah, because the only piece of evidence that links him to Dr. Gordon, and that's that pin that was left behind.
Right. I thought it was cool in the scene with Amanda, we see the puppet for the first time, which is another iconic piece to the Saw series. And it says, I want to play a game in Tobin Bell's voice.
So a few cool tidbits. James Wan was asked who could he envision playing Amanda, and because for years he had a crush on Shawnee Smith since he saw her in The Blob, he said, I'd love Shawnee Smith to play her, and was shocked when they actually said that Shawnee Smith agreed to play the role.
Wow.
Interestingly, Shawnee Smith was sick the entire time. She filmed both her scenes in one day. She had the flu, but she still did the job and finished it. Lee Winnell jokes in the commentaries, like, after all that, she didn't thank you by going out on a date with you? What the heck? Which is funny.
I was just thinking that her being sick might have been good for that character, because when she was appearing, she looked off, and it's probably because she was sick at the same time that she was playing. And the character, we learned, is a drug addict too, so it sort of went to the character. I'm sad that she had to work when she was that sick. But...
Well, yeah, and what's crazy is because he wanted her because he knew her from these other things. He thought she was wonderful. But I would say that now, because she reprises this role several times throughout the Saw franchise, that she might be best known for these movies now. She tells a story. She is in a trap, a reverse bear trap. It's on her head. She's tied to a chair. While she moves around, we see that a trap cord is attached and some type of measuring gauge is on the back of the trap with a small padlock. The TV to the left comes on, and it's Billy the Puppet to explain what is happening to her, that she has a timer And when the game starts, she will lose her jaw as it'll be ripped open. She is told that the key to her freedom lies in the stomach of the dead cellmate. He ends by saying, live or die, make your choice. So that cellmate is one of the producers of the movie who likes to brag that he didn't take an actor credit on it so that everybody else can reap the profits as the actors because they all deserve to make money, which is nice. Amanda starts to free her arms, and when she does, she pulls out the cord as she gets up and she starts the timer, which it has only 60 seconds. She freaks out a bit as the camera shows all these jerky movements and she's freaking out. She goes over to the body. We see the man's eyes open, but he's unable to move or speak, and Amanda stabs his guts open to find the key. And we see Amanda takes off the bear trap seconds before it goes off. And then Billy comes back out on a tricycle to congratulate her. He is saying that most people do not care about life enough, but now she does. Detective Tapp asks Amanda if she thinks Jigsaw chose her because she was a drug addict, and she replies that Jigsaw helped her. Another fun fact is that James Wan built this puppet in his garage, and they used it from the short. He expected the movie company to be willing to buy a much bigger budget puppet. And they're like, no, just use the one you built already. We'll get to save money on this and use it somewhere else. And so he had it as a carry-on on the way from Australia to America. And he was never more hoping that someone searched his bags and confiscated it. But no one searched his bag.
You know what's crazy? We used to do a haunted labyrinth maze for Halloween.
Yeah, I remember.
And when it was brand new, it was like super nice. People were like, wow, this is like Disneyland. But then as it got older and sort of paint started flaking off and stuff, I thought it started looking cooler.
Yeah.
Because it had this like little haunted type appearance of being old and run down. So I do think that if they would have made a really nice big puppet or something like that, it probably would have taken away from the movie. I like Billy the Puppet.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We'll cover it when we talk about part 2, but when part 2 comes around, it's not James Wan directing it, and they do build a nicer, newer puppet. And James Wan's like, why does he get a nicer, newer puppet? Which I think is funny. The camera transitions back to the bathroom. Adam delivers a not-so-great acting, which I swear he gets better at because I've seen him in the Insidious franchise, and he is amazing. Adam starts telling Dr. Gordon how is he supposed to know that he isn't lying and he could have put him in that room. Dr. Gordon calmly replies that he is stuck in the same position he is. But ironically, since Lee Winnell wrote the script, he's actually the one responsible for putting Carrie Elwes in that room in a meta way.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right?
Hey, I wanted to say there was another thing that happened here. When we went from the police room back to the scene with Adam and Lawrence. The camera panned down. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? So it's like, it sort of tricks the viewer as to think, okay, they're right below the police. Yeah. Like, no. But I thought it was a really cool camera.
Which is something they do in Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone. Mm. It shows the viewer it going down, and it's still easy to miss. Adam says that Dr. Gordon has information, which Adam doesn't. He picks up a piece of the mirror that broke earlier and starts threatening Dr. Gordon with it, but stops mid-sentence when he notices that it's a two-way mirror. So Adam throws more stuff in the mirror to reveal that they're being watched by a camera. We cut to see the monitors, and we hear a voice say, "Don't look at me, I can't help you." Adam keeps throwing things at glass, and I feel like he's just happy to be doing something for a change. Like, he can't change the situation.
Get his feelings out.
Right. Dr. Gordon says that the same reason they're not going to break through those chains is the same reason they're not going to break through that glass. But it makes Adam think he admires Jigsaw. To overcome something, you have to understand what a perfect engine it is. And that's how he fights disease. So he's relating Jigsaw to disease. Adam thinks Dr. Gordon is too calm and reminding him that his wife and daughter are out there. Dr. Gordon says he is thinking about them, and he's thinking about the last thing he said to his daughter. Then we cut to Diane in her bed, which is his daughter, who's looking worried about something standing there in the dark. She walks over to her mom, who is sleeping alone in bed. Her mom is Allison. Diana tells her mom that there's a man in her room that talks to her. Allison agrees to go check the room, but Diana says she wants Daddy to do it. So they both go over to him, but he's so busy working on his laptop. As they start to walk away, he says that he's done, and he goes into the room, turns on the light, and tells her that there's no bad man there. His beeper then goes off, and he says he has to go to work. As he is leaving, Diana asks him, "Are you going to leave us?"
He promises that he wouldn't leave them, and then also that he would read her favorite book tomorrow. So I thought this was interesting because I have a daughter, and I sort of make similar promises. and you have to follow through on this. Otherwise, that child gets really upset if you're not.
Yeah, we've cut the word promise out of our vocabulary unless it's something very serious in this household. And I definitely say I'll try my best. It depends what happens, though. Outside the room, Allison is yelling at her husband, who's Dr. Gordon. How can he fake being happy all the time? And he claims that he is happy. We can see that their daughter gets to hear the whole argument. Back in the bathroom, Dr. Gordon throws his wallet over to Adam so he can see a picture of his daughter. Adam asks where the picture of his wife is, and he tells him that his favorite picture is behind the one of his daughter. When Adam pulls it out, though, Dr. Gordon is looking away, and Adam notices that it's a different photo that's there instead. And it's a photo of Allison and Diana sitting there together. They're gagged, and the message says "Regards," all in capital letters, and has a puzzle piece on it. And on the back is the clue that says X marks the spot. Sometimes you see more with your eyes shut. Adam tells Dr. Gordon that the photo he's talking about isn't there, and he hides the clue when he tosses the wallet back. Back in Diana's room, we see while they are arguing, the man was there, and he whispers, "Good night, little girl." We see Dr. Gordon has left, so when Diana screams, her mother hears it, runs in the room, and we see a man wearing a bedsheet. In the producer's commentary, they said they were trying to get a little girl's flowery bedsheet just to cover his head, and it wouldn't have gone over his whole body. And this is where producers are praising themselves, saying, this is what producers do. They walk into the room and say, no, that's stupid. Get me a gray sheet that covers the whole body, so it's going to be creepier. Flowery bedsheet over his head is going to look stupid. So they're like,
okay, but where would he have gotten it from?
I don't know. But
the
they're
closet
like,
had a king size sheet for a little girl's bed.
I don't know. But they joke around like we single handedly save films. That's what we do. Then we cut to now where they're both being held captive. Their captor is listening to their heart rate with a stethoscope, and they cry because he's pointing a gun at their head.
That was really creepy too, because he was pointing the gun at them and then listening to their heart rate increase as they were getting anxious, and it was he was really messing with them a lot.
This is another scene that they get, like one of the top scenes they get complaints about, that this is just like so disturbing. The guy pointing the gun, right?
Yeah, and listening to the heartbeat.
The gun is known as a Wilson Combat Protector. Then we enter Tap's POV. It takes a big turn as we see Detective Tapp is across the street from the hostages situation, and he's looking at Zepp, who was the orderly from earlier, and recording everything. He sounds crazy talking to himself, asking questions aloud like, does the doctor know that you're there? What are you doing there? Are you waiting for the doctor? Because I'm waiting for the doctor too. Instead of saving the hostages, I mean, maybe he doesn't see the hostages. In his apartment, he has a whole wall dedicated to the Jigsaw case, and he's obsessed with still thinking Dr. Gordon is Jigsaw. We cut to a scene where he is dropping off Dr. Gordon back home after the Amanda scene, and Tapp tells Dr. Gordon that he just arrested a dentist who liked to play with children a little too much, and he only lived 2 blocks away from there. Still following the flashback, we see Tapp is at the station watching Amanda's tape when Singh comes by to ask him if he'll go out with the other cops for beer.
So this is like a backstory before Tapp's in that place across the street monitoring Dr. Gordon.
Right.
Is sort of what happened.
Which I think is a good method of storytelling, because the main story, you have these 2 people trapped in a room, but we don't get bored because other stuff is happening.
I think Saw does a really good job with that. Mm-hmm. Some movies, they get too choppy, but Saw, it takes the opportunity to tell the backstory at the right point in the timeline of the overall movie. So, like, it's good to know what happened to Detective Tapp before he got into that place.
Right. Tapp says no. Singh says maybe it's time for him to get a girlfriend. And he keeps rewinding the tape, and he finds a clue and calls Singh back right before he was going out with the other cops. He points to some graffiti on the wall, which reminds him of a case on 118th Street, which was an area for a gang called K2K. They up the volume of the tape and hear there's a fire alarm in the distance, and since the gang's area is only 4 square blocks, they can now narrow it down. They find a warehouse that used to be a mannequin factory, and Singh doesn't think they have enough for a warrant, and Tapp said, who said anything about a warrant? And so they go just break in. Inside, they find surveillance equipment, passageways that look like cages, which they could easily get trapped in if they aren't careful. They find Billy, a big pig mask, but under the big red tarp, there is a man struggling. The man is strapped to a chair with electric drills pointing to his head. Then they hear Jigsaw enter, and Singh is happy to arrest him, but Tap wants to see what he's going to do first. While they argue, Tap convinces Singh to just cover the man back up, while the man is obviously panicking. Jigsaw walks up in a black coat with red inside, which looks like a coat that a boxer would wear on the way to the ring, which is kind of funny. It was supposed to be a creepy, cultish kind of coat.
Dracula type cape.
Right, but it looks like someone that a boxer would wear on his way into the ring.
I didn't catch that, but yeah, now that you mention it, black and red, yeah, totally could be.
Jigsaw uncovers the man, whose name is Jeff, and tells him that he has given up on his life's purpose. The voice here is obviously not that of Zepp, but we can't see the face of Jigsaw. Tap and Singh run out yelling him to freeze. Tap is armed with a Zastava CZ99, and Singh is armed with an Ithaca 37 Deerslayer police special 12-gauge shotgun. Jigsaw steps on a metal pedal and starts the drills, and Singh tosses the shotgun to Tap so he can try to free Jeff. Jigsaw tells him that he has to make a choice because the man will be dead in 20 seconds. And the key to his freedom is in this box. So, of course, they take that helpful information, and inside the box must be at least 50 keys in 20 seconds. Singh asks Tap for help, and Jigsaw asks Tap what's more important, arresting him or saving the man's life. Tap calls him sick and forces Jigsaw onto his knees. Jigsaw agrees that he is sick from disease eaten away inside of him, which is a big clue for later. He also rants about who he is sick of people. Jigsaw rants that he is sick of people not appreciating life. Singh then gives up on the keys and tries shooting the drills with a Beretta 92FX Enix. The gunfire distracts Tap, and Jigsaw uses that moment to release his spring-lock blade, which is under his cloak, and he slices against Tap's neck and makes a run for it.
I thought Tap was done for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he slashes his throat with this thing.
Man. The trap was stopped, and Singh sees his partner's not dead, takes back the shotgun, and goes after Jigsaw. He comes across him saying, "Freeze or I'll shoot." When Jigsaw runs, he does shoot at him, which sends Jigsaw to the floor. As Singh approaches, he has to clear some cobwebs, which are hiding a tripwire for a series of 4 shotguns above his head. The shotguns here have a continuity error. The trapped is armed with 4 double-barreled Charles Parker's 1878 side-by-side 12-gauge shotguns. But when the camera zooms into one, it magically turns into a Winchester Model 1300 12-gauge shotgun.
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't know if maybe there were different guns all together, and that's what I kind of assumed, but yeah.
It just looked different. When you zoom in, you're like, hey, that's not the same gun. It's because they had to do reshoots.
Oh, okay.
And they,
you know, a different one.
And I guess they didn't think people would just pause it later and like investigate. Also, when they're entering the building and it's Tap and Singh, when you're looking at the hands holding the shotgun as they do a close-up, that's actually Lee Winnell's, who plays Adam, pretending to be Detective Singh because they couldn't get him back for the reshoots, and this Adam is just subbing in for Detective Singh. And they...
Cutting corners.
And speaking of cuts, there was a theatrical release where they extended the borders of the film so it was clear that it was Lee Winnell holding that gun. And they're like, what'd you change the borders of the film for? Like, it fit in the screen perfectly. But they messed with it, and it confused audiences. Like, what? Singh dies from a shotgun to the head, and his body hits the floor shaking. We see Tap making his way to his partner slowly while he's still holding his throat. Jigsaw gets up, holding his side, and goes out of this massive sliding metal door. Tap finds his partner, and the scene transitions to some photos being taken of the crime scene before we cut to Tap now, and we see that there's a scar on his throat. Tap is talking to his dead partner, saying that they're still going to close this case. We cut to Zepp, who is watching the events on these monitors of the bathroom, where Dr. Gordon is telling Adam they need to search the room for an X. He then asks Adam what he's doing because he's holding the pictures with the clue on it in the bathtub so that he can't see it. And the black trash bag from inside the toilet is still in that bathtub as well.
Yeah, and so he's looking at X marks the spot. Sometimes you see more with your eyes shut. And Adam's clearly trying to figure out this part of the puzzle.
Right. Adam asks him to turn off the lights again, but Dr. Gordon is reluctant, but he eventually gives in. Dr. Gordon doesn't see the X when he turns off the lights right away because it's behind him, and Adam tells him to turn around. When he does, Dr. Gordon wants to know why they didn't see it before, and Adam figures it's glow-in-the-dark paint that the lights in the room had not charged it yet. Dr. Gordon turns the lights back on and uses the handle of the saw to break through the section of the wall. Inside is a small box with a lock on it. Dr. Gordon asks for the key back that was in the envelope.
It was in Lawrence's envelope. He had a bullet and a key and the tape all in his envelope. Adam only had the tape in his.
Okay. He asked for the key back. When they open it, we see an envelope. We see a Motorola flip phone. As he reveals a cigarette, he calls it the most beautiful invention in the world. And then when he pulls the cell phone out, he corrects himself, saying that the cell phone was the most beautiful invention in the world, which puts the cigarette and lighter in second place. He asks Dr. Gordon for the cigarette, but he's saying he shouldn't be willing to put something he found in this room in his mouth. And Adam says he's willing to risk it. While Adam is still asking for the cigarette, Dr. Gordon finds a note that says, "Shh, doctor," on it. And on the other side, it says, "Cigarettes are harmless, I promise. Smoking only poisons when it ends in bloodshed. Think about this. You don't need a gun to kill Adam." Dr. Gordon ignores Adam and tries to call the police on the phone, but after 2 failed attempts, he figures the phone was only meant to receive calls instead of seeing if there's a better signal on Adam's side of the room.
I was wondering that. So how does that work exactly? It's only designed to receive calls?
No idea.
Yeah,
I'm not sure on that one.
Question that. But anyway, it makes for a good story.
Yeah. Dr. Gordon remembers something, and we go to another flashback where he was walking to his car in a parking garage. He grabs his face like he has a headache, like his nose. His eyes are closed. There's a camera flash that goes on, and he can't see anybody there. We cut to him driving his BMW, and we see him get out, and he tries to call security with the phone on the wall. When that doesn't work, he pulls out a cell phone and tries to call, and he doesn't notice the guy in a pig mask and a red robe getting out of the back of his car. The pig mask man crawls towards him and jumps at him, but with a shaky camera, we don't really see how he actually captured him. Back in the bathroom, Dr. Gordon wants to know how Adam knew to turn off the lights, and Adam tells him instinct. Dr. Gordon tells him he's a horrible liar and wants to know what else Adam is hiding. Adam answers that some trivial things from his past that have no relevance. Like, well, in 3rd grade, I did this. Stupid stuff. He's being a smartass. When Dr. Gordon says that he's dealing with a juvenile, Adam is ready to tell him, and he throws the picture of his family that was the clue to the lights. Dr. Gordon is obviously upset, but aims his anger at their captor, not Adam, who does tell him that he didn't have the heart to show him the photo. Dr. Gordon then remembers that the cigarette and the earlier clue about there being so much poison in the dead man's blood in the middle of the room. Dr. Gordon looks at the camera deliberately and then dips the cigarette in the poison before placing it back in the box. He then shuts off the lights and whispers to Adam so that their captor can't hear what they are planning. All we hear is that he wants Adam to play along with his plan, and since we watched from Zepp's POV, he can't hear him. In the original script, they had this where he was going to break open a pipe and whisper to the pipe to Adam so they couldn't hear what they were whispering, but they realized they didn't have the budget or the ability to do it. So they're like, this is just going to be easier.
Well, it's effective. I mean, clearly they're trying to trick whoever's watching him through the camera. But I think Adam overdoes it here with the acting.
His acting.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's great at acting. So he tosses him the cigarette and lighter, and he makes a gesture to him like, here goes nothing. And I swear that he does this on purpose, that he pretends to die over dramatically, and he hits the floor. What's funny is in the commentary for The Invisible Man, Lee Winnell's talking about how amazing the guy that plays Tom is at pretending to be dead with his eyes open. And Lee Winnell says that is something he cannot do. He cannot pretend to be dead, especially with his eyes open, and no one should hire him for that role. Which I think, who would say that out loud? Like, I want a job, really. But I think it's funny. But yeah, here he's purposely acting to be a bad actor, which is awesome.
You have to wonder, like, so the man in the middle of the room supposedly shot himself because there's so much poison in his blood. And so he was clearly tormented. And Adam just keels over in, like, less than half a minute.
Yeah. Right. So Dr. Gordon yells at the camera and told them he did what he was supposed to do. Now he wants his family. Then we hear a sound of electricity, and Adam starts to shake and scream in pain. Adam reaches for the chain, and Dr. Gordon doesn't believe him and tells him he's just electrocuted, though even we heard the sound of it. Adam tells him he wouldn't fake it to ruin his stupid plan, and Dr. Gordon goes back to trying to cut the chain to free himself. Adam then says that he remembers how he got here, and he enters another flashback, which they pointed out in the commentary that him getting shocked was supposed to jolt his memory. And that's how we get this flashback. That's
how he remembered what happened when he was abducted.
Right. So he's walking up some stairs to his apartment. It's really dark in there, and we notice that's because he has a dark room where he develops film. He's listening to music with wired earbuds. The two things are revealed in this moment. First is that Adam has been taking photos of Dr. Gordon, which a lot of audiences didn't notice that the photos he was taking were Carrie Elwes, which I thought was so obvious. And second, that there's a peephole to look into Adam's darkroom. Sometime later, Adam's asleep, and when he wakes up, it's still extremely dark in his apartment. The lights don't work, and he even tries a flashlight, which doesn't work either. He then hears something and goes to investigate. He calls out if someone's there, because that always works in horror movies, but then uses his camera flash to illuminate the room, which is a cool effect in this horror movie. So we get small flashes of what's in the room a little bit at a time. So we, the audience, are possibly terrified too.
Yeah, I was waiting to see Jigsaw or someone.
He finds Billy in the chair, which is the most creepy electronic laugh. He uses a baseball bat to beat up Billy, poor Billy, which stops laughing. He calls out who's going to kill him, and then he uses the flash again. The same pig-faced person in a red robe jumps out of the closet and grabs him. In the bathroom, the flip phone rings, and Dr. Gordon answers it, and he hears his daughter Diana on the phone crying for him. She tells him that a man from her room is there, and her mother is tied up, and that he has a gun. Dr. Gordon asks what man, and then we see Zepp put a gun against Allison's head, and with the gun pointed at her head, she's able to tell her husband not to believe Adam's lies because he's known who he was before this day. Adam, of course, cannot hear this conversation and doesn't know what's going on, but Dr. Gordon tells him that she called him a liar. Adam points out that he's the one to call a liar, asking what he was doing last night.
I wanted to say one thing that was important for the viewer is that the camera focuses in on the clock. Yeah. When the cell phone call happens, it's 5:30. So he had until 6 o'clock to kill Adam. So it's down to the last 30 minutes, basically.
Right. Then he reminds Dr. Gordon that he said that after he left his wife late last night, he went to work at the hospital. Dr. Gordon sticks to his lie, and then we see the garage flashback, and then we see there was Adam who was hiding in the dark taking pictures of Dr. Gordon. Then Adam reveals what he was hiding in the trash bag, which were photos that he took of Dr. Gordon. Adam says he's been following him for a few days because he gets paid to follow rich guys and take pictures of them as they go to seedy motels to fuck their secretaries. Dr. Gordon's angry, but Adam tells him that they are both bullshitters, but the camera doesn't lie. And then he asks what he did in that room because he got out of there pretty fast. Then we cut inside of the room from Dr. Gordon's POV, where he's meeting with one of his medical students named Carla. He asks her why she paged him while she knew he was at home. She says she doesn't know the rules for this kind of thing, and she starts to undress right away. He seems to grow conscious and stops her from undressing, saying that this is wrong for him.
He apologizes for having her come there, putting her in this circumstance.
Yeah. She's obviously confused, and then the phone rings. They don't understand who could be calling them, but when she answers it, she says the call is for him. He gets on the line, and it's Zepp, but he doesn't recognize the voice, who whispers, "I know what you are doing, doctor," and then hangs up the phone. This is when he leaves and goes to the parking garage, and this is where we see that same flash for the third time. In the bathroom, Dr. Gordon asks Adam who paid him. He says some guy who pays him up front and calls himself Bob. Adam adds if he knew he was going to end up in the bathroom, he would have asked for a lot more money. I'm like, but if I knew I was going to end up in this bathroom, I would have left town. Like, how much money you have doesn't matter. Like, you're stuck in this bathroom. Adam tells him that he saw Dr. Gordon get into his car, but then he went home to develop the pictures. Dr. Gordon then asks who the guy was that was paying the money, and Adam isn't sure, but Dr. Gordon wants a description, and eventually he gives him a description which describes Detective Tapp. Adam says the guy paid him was not a cop, but Dr. Gordon tells Adam that Tapp was discharged after his partner was killed because he broke down. Adam asks if he's really mad at the fact that he caught him cheating on his wife, but Dr. Gordon says he didn't cheat on her, but I feel like he's done this before, so I don't feel like he's never cheated on her. It just felt like the most recent one he grew a conscience on. Adam tells him that he doesn't care if Dr. Gordon covered himself in peanut butter and had a 15-person gangbang. We have a quick scene of Allison encouraging Diana to be strong before cutting back to Adam that notices that there was a picture in the group of pictures that he did not take.
It was a picture from Detective Tapp of Dr. Gordon's house showing that there was someone in Dr. Gordon's house.
Which we know is Zepp.
Yeah. And Adam throws the photo over to Dr. Gordon, who immediately recognizes Zepp in the photo.
Then we cut to Adam, who points out to the clock and mentions that they are now out of time. Zepp turns off the monitor and prepares to kill Alice and Diana, and we see that Allison has been able to free her hands from the bindings. She starts to free Diana, but when she sees that Zepp is coming, they have to pretend as though they're still tied up. Zepp makes her call her husband and tells him that he failed, and when he answers the phone, he starts yelling at Zepp. Though Allison on the phone tells him that he failed, it is not in a scared tone and in more of a I'm ready to be a badass kind of voice, and she grabs the handgun out of Zepp's hand and pushes him to the floor.
Yeah, I thought it was important to note that Zepp was tied to Dr. Gordon and the medical student who was having the affair at the same time. When Dr. Gordon recognized him, Zepp was in the scene earlier where he was reprimanding Dr. Gordon for not recognizing that this patient was a person. His name was John, and he was terminally ill. It sort of starts tying everything together.
Right. She's holding him at gunpoint, asking where her husband is. Dr. Gordon tells her that he's being held captive in some room, and she responds with, "But we need you here." He tells her he's sorry, and he's always been happy with her. When Diane cries for her, she is distracted, and Zepp makes a play for the gun. The gun goes off 3 times as they fight. Dr. Gordon can't tell from his end who won the fight, and we see Tapp see the shots, and he prepares his new handgun, which is Beretta 92 FS.
So Detective Tapp was made aware that there was an issue because the gunfire started happening across the street.
Right.
You could tell that there's something was going on there. So at this point, I was like, is Tapp going to come save the day?
Yeah, maybe.
Pretty cool. Like he's
As they continue the fight, Zepp is able to get the gun as at the same time Allison finds a pair of scissors. She spins, zabbing Zepp in the leg. At the same moment, Tapp comes in. Zepp falls on the floor, and he and Tapp have a shootout. Dr. Gordon is crying, holding the phone because he doesn't know what happened. Interesting, in the first script, they wanted the shootout to be a lot longer, really massive, and it actually had them only 6 feet apart, missing each other like crazy.
Wow. Well, I thought that it was really cool it seemed long to me.
Yeah.
But just long enough.
Yeah.
And the fact that Dr. Gordon is having a hard time knowing what's going on the other end, but hearing all of this happen, he doesn't even know Detective Tapp's in the room. I thought it was a pretty cool scene.
So Allison and Diana make it out of the room. Tapp runs out of ammo and tackles Zepp before he can get the upper hand. As they struggle, Zepp is able to hit Tapp over the head with a vase and hobbles over to the next room to call out, "Hey, I'm going to kill your husband." Dr. Gordon is now being electrocuted, and Zepp is trying to kill him. At this point, it seems to Adam as if Dr. Gordon was just killed. Then they have a very poorly shot car chase scene where Tapp is following Zepp. And they never move the cars. They just cut a bunch of choppy shots to make it look like the car's moving, but they never actually move the cars in this shot. It looks so bad, but it's funny.
I think it gets the point across, though.
Yeah.
Tapp is chasing
Right.
Zepp across town.
Right. I mean, yeah, the movie isn't about this car chase scene, but it's just funny that like how cheesy it looked when they did it.
Yeah, it's not a bullet.
Right.
That movie. Referring to a really old movie with Steve McQueen.
Adam calls for Dr. Gordon, saying that he needs him, and he starts to throw pieces of tile at him. This does wake him up, and he reports that he was electrocuted, and Adam says he told him he wasn't lying. Zepp makes it into the building, and Tapp follows. In the bathroom, the phone starts ringing again, but Dr. Gordon can't reach it. He starts to panic, and is yelling so loud that Adam covers his ears. The phone continues to ring. Dr. Gordon ties one of his shirts to his leg to help slow the blood flow so he can amputate his own foot. Adam is screaming no the whole time. Tapp catches up to Zepp and they start fighting. Dr. Gordon finishes and throws the hacksaw.
Lawrence is screaming like that his family needs him too. Mm-hmm. So he's cutting off his own foot, screaming his family needs him. Like he's totally lost it at this point.
Zepp is able to shoot Tapp. Dr. Gordon crawls over to the gun being held by the dead body, which is the Smith & Wesson Model 686, and loads the bullet into it while Adam begs him to stop. He aims at Adam and tells him he has to die for his family, and he shoots him. Dr. Gordon then cries before yelling, "I've done it. Now show me them." We cut to Allison and Diana, who are at their neighbor's house, who have called the police, and this is the last time we ever see Allison and Diana in the whole series. Zepp enters the room to find Adam shot and Dr. Gordon on the ground, who still has a handgun, but it's out of bullets. Zepp kicks Adam a few times, but he doesn't move, and then points the gun at Dr. Gordon, telling him that he's too late because that's the rules. But then we find out that Adam can act because he grabs Zepp by the leg and pulls him to the ground, then proceeds to kill him with the lid of the toilet, which was pretty crazy.
He bashed his head in with the lid of the toilet.
Yeah.
And he kept going and going until Dr. Gordon stopped him.
Dr. Gordon crawls over to him because Zepp is now dead and Adam is crying. Dr. Gordon looks very pale and says that Adam is going to be all right because he's just wounded his shoulder, and then he says he has to go get help. Adam begs him not to leave. Dr. Gordon tells him not to worry, and he promises he'll bring someone back.
But he has to get help because Dr. Gordon is clearly bleeding to death. He says that.
Yep.
He crawls out of the door that Zepp came in.
95 minutes into the movie, Dr. Gordon makes it out of this room. Adam searches Zepp for anything helpful he might find, and he finds another tape player.
Adam finds this in Zepp's pocket.
Yes, this is great.
That's like
great twist.
Okay, what is going on here?
The now iconic music plays, and Adam hits the play button and reveals that Zepp was also just following the instructions from Jigsaw. The tape says that Zepp has a slow poison running through his system and asks if he's willing to kill a mother and a child to save himself. Then, in one of cinema's greatest twists in history, the dead body from the middle of the room gets up. Jigsaw tells Adam that the key to the chain is in the bathtub, and we flash to the opening where we see it going down the drain.
And it's John, the terminally ill patient that was in the room with
good.
Dr.
So
Gordon and Zepp at the beginning.
Then the film shows the scene where Dr. Gordon was explaining his patient, and Zepp comes in to tell him that the patient's name is John. The movie flashes to fill in all the clues that the movie gave us throughout. Dr. Gordon explains that he has cancer. Jigsaw explains that he hates people that take their lives for granted. Detective Carey explains that he likes to book a front row seat to the games. So he likes to watch the games as they're happening. And that's the clue, that he's laying there in the middle of the room watching the game happen. Adam grabs a gun and tries to shoot Jigsaw. Jigsaw clicks the button to electrocute Adam, which causes him to throw the gun. And then we have more flashes from the whole movie, and Jigsaw closes the door, telling Adam game over. Adam scream as the credits start.
Game over, yeah.
Oh.
I was just thinking a couple thoughts here at the end.
Sure.
So one is John truly behind this? That was one of the thoughts I had. And, okay, all the other Saw movies aside, just thinking about John, is he part of the game where basically he has a tape player that told him what to do to get into the middle of the room? We don't know as a viewer if John's really behind everything.
If this is the only movie that exists.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay. I guess so. I feel like it shows us that it's him, though. And we match that voice to the guy that was trapping the other people, like he trapped Jeff earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Which is funny because the guy he traps in the third one is also named Jeff. I thought that was funny that they reused that name.
And another thought I had here was there were lots of opportunities to kill the characters in here. Zepp and Jigsaw, there were lots of points in the movie where villains could have been killed.
Sure.
But they weren't.
Yeah.
And it made for a great horror movie. But I was on the edge of my seat going like, just pull the trigger. Just do it. As a bad guy, you gotta stop this. And the characters weren't doing it. That suspense that's created there was really good.
I did 3 commentaries on this movie. There's one with just James Wan and Lee Winnell. There's one with Cary Elwes, James Wan, and Lee Winnell. And then there was one from the 3 producers. But a lot of fun things that came out of there. Lee Winnell claims that the under the water scene in the bathtub, that James Wan kept delaying calling cut so he would have to be under the water longer and longer, which he's like, you just tortured me. He also regrets writing that he would be wet in the script because he had to be wet for the 6 days they filmed in that bathroom. And he joked around that says the next script he writes himself in, he's going to write that he wakes up with a room full of scantily clad women who are all feeding him fruit.
Much better than waking up drowning in a bathtub.
Right. Other cast members played a joke on Cary Elwes where they rewrote his script to give him a bunch of racist lines as a joke, and he spent hours rewriting the script to try to change it for better when they told him that it was all a joke. And then, but he was a little upset because he spent hours of his life rewriting the script because he didn't want to appear racist. He's like, I can't say these things, guys, which I think is funny.
I've been a victim of that at work.
Oh, man.
Like rewriting things that others did, and then I'd find out that wasn't the final version. Waste of time.
In the scene where Cary Elwes is breaking through the wall, where they found the Exxon, he's throwing pieces behind him. One of the pieces hit the DP in the nuts when they were filming it. The rooms throughout this movie are very green, very blue, which was inspired by Italian films before them, like Giallo films. Adam's place is very red. The man in the razor wire room has a very blue room. The bathroom was also tinted blue.
That's interesting. I was also thinking about the red and the black that was in the hideout too.
The room with the fire and the safe was a green room. Lee Winnell says it's hard to write a film where you're going to star in it only to have the show stolen by a cheap puppet that was built for the movie. The puppet's more iconic than Adam. The bathroom set was built in 2 weeks, and all the tiles were actually made of wood, which is kind of neat. But yeah, that's kind of everything. I love this movie. I love this series. I think the series started as a not gruesome movie that like the series turned into, where there's a lot more traps and a lot of gore. But I do love the writing. I know people joke like, oh, I watch Saw for the writing, but I really think that its twists are really good. And while there are people out there that predict endings, and then there's a few movies I've done that too, I've never been able to successfully guess the ending of a Saw movie.
Yeah.
And I like them. And I own all 10 that can be owned because that's all that are out.
So Saw 11 should come out in fall October 2025.
Right. But we'll see, because there's all these people online that think it's been canceled because the producer or one of the directors, somebody involved in it, posted a picture of Jigsaw walking away in Saw 11 and didn't post any context. So some people think, all right, Saw 11's happening. Where some people goes, no, but it shows him walking away. So maybe they're saying they've canceled it, and all these people are reading all this from one image that was posted with no context. So I'll be excited to see it when I see it. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Stephen.
Oh, thank you.
If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at Nightmare Echoes Pod. We're also on X and Threads. I think there's a lot of great conversations happening on Threads right now in the horror community. All right. Bye.
Bye. Have you tried to buy kidneys on eBay before?
No, I've never done that.
I didn't think that.
Little miniatures. I got these little miniatures right here. Like this one was $3 whole. Did I just break it?
A miniature kidney?
I just broke it. No, that was the stand fell off.